I'm Brian Wensloff, one of the co-founders of Musistic. And Musistic, as Jim said, has created a platform for musicians to record music together in a better way. I have a long history in the music business, both as a recording artist and a recording engineer. In 2007, a colleague of mine approached me and asked me to start on a new project with him. So when we went to record our first album, we kind of had some troubles. He lived in Florida, I lived here in Memphis. I was a software and web developer at the time as well, so I kind of had an FTP server set up, and we were sending files back and forth that way. Now, if you don't know how songs are typically recorded these days, what happens is I would record my drums here in Memphis, send him the files, he would record guitars over that, send it back to me, I'd make some tweaks, send it back to him, he'd record some vocals, send it back to me over and over and over again for each song. This was obviously taking a whole lot of time by uploading and downloading files and trying to send them by other means. It was so bad, and we were so far behind on our deadline that I ended up packing up everything I owned and moving to Florida. So that was my solution in 2007. Also, another problem we had, and that a lot of musicians have, is, as Jim talked about, they use a lot of different tools for recording music, and these aren't compatible at all. And it doesn't seem like that big a deal until you realize that there's well over 20 different tools that musicians are commonly using, and none of them talk to each other. This downtime is killing creativity for musicians. The classic way to actually solve this problem would be to physically ship external hard drives back and forth from one another. This still goes on even to this day. That can obviously get very expensive very quickly. You're looking at $20 on up per iteration. Another problem is that you have days, maybe even a week of downtime per iteration, and it doesn't help with any of those incompatibility issues between the different tools. In recent years, people have just started using Dropbox. Again, that gets expensive very quickly. These files we're talking about are anywhere from a few megabytes to a few gigabytes, and Dropbox can be up to hundreds of dollars, up to $1,000 a year for files of that size, sending them back and forth. It also, again, doesn't help with those incompatibility issues between the different tools. In recent years, people have started to create new tools for recording music from the ground up with online collaboration in mind. But these are not trivial pieces of software. People have invested months and years of their lives into learning the tools that they prefer, and to ask them to learn a new tool to be able to collaborate is quite a time cost. Not only that, but again, everybody on the team has to be using the same tool. That's why we created Musistic. Musistic is a platform that integrates into your existing tools to allow you to collaborate and record music online. Now let me show you a little bit of how it works. Me and one of my other co-founders, Justin Olita, decided to record a song together using Musistic. So in the comfort of his own home, using the tools that he knows and loves, he was able to record his guitar part. On his computer, you'll see a lot of little boxes. Those are plugins that musicians are used to using to record and manipulate audio. Musistic is simply a plugin that goes on one of your tracks. When he gets his guitar like he likes it, he just clicks send, and it shows up on my computer, and then I'm able to play my guitar parts over top of it, and we can go back and forth like that with little to no downtime. Now, there are some other people trying to solve this problem in creative ways. Well, some not so creative, like the shipping hard drives back and forth that we discussed. That's a lot of downtime, it's very costly, and it doesn't solve any compatibility issues. Dropbox cuts down on the downtime, which is good. However, it's still really expensive and doesn't solve any compatibility issues. Two of the big names in the recording tools market are Pro Tools and Ableton. In the past few months, they've actually released upgrades to their systems that are very similar to Musistic. However, it doesn't solve any compatibility issues because it only goes Pro Tools to Pro Tools or Ableton to Ableton. Everyone on the team has to be using the same tool, and these just happen to be the most expensive tools out there on the market. So it's still very costly, it doesn't solve incompatibility, but it does fix the downtime issue. And then there's these new tools that have been built from the ground up for collaboration. They can be costly. They fix the downtime issue, but they don't solve any compatibility issues. Everybody has to be on them. Musistic is the only solution out there right now that not only cuts down on the time cost of collaborating online to record music, but it cuts down on the financial cost and allows you to continue using the tools you know and love. Now, there's a lot of people that can use Musistic. It's not just professional musicians. It's anyone from Justin Timberlake to a 13-year-old who just got a guitar and a MacBook for Christmas, and everyone in between. And to reach all these different people, that could use our product, we've got a couple ways to do that. First, we're going after partnerships with these current recording tools, to give them a tool to allow their users to collaborate more. We're also partnering with educational institutions. Full Sail is one of the biggest recording schools in the country. They have franchises all over the country. They boast 18,000 students per semester coming into their program. Also, there's local options such as the Visible School and School of Rock. Music resource organizations such as the Memphis Music Foundation or the Folk Alliance International are people we're pursuing partnerships with. And also, obviously, we're going to trade publications and conferences, the places where people go to find out about new advances in technology for recording. Again, because so many different types of people can use our platform, we've got a sliding scale subscription model. It's a freemium model, starts out free and goes all the way up to $120 for professionals to use it, based on how you want to use it. So how much money can we actually make with something like this? Let's look at one channel partner, the Folk Alliance International, that has 12,000 member musicians. In a freemium model such as ours, the rule of thumb is you get a 3 to 5% adoption rate from free to paid conversions. So let's take our average rate of $10 a month, and we're looking at $3,600 per month in revenue, which is pretty good. Now, when you realize that just in the United States alone, there's over 64 million musicians, you're looking at $20 million per month in revenue, and that's just in the United States. Musistic can be used anywhere in the world that there are musicians and internet access. Actually, just yesterday, Commander Chris Hadfield just got back from the International Space Station. He was up there for 6 months, and he took his guitar with him. And he could have used Musistic to collaborate with his lowly Earthlings while he was up there. So we put together an amazing team to build this product and to get it out there. I'm Brian Wentzloff. I have over 10 years in software and web development experience. I've started several successful web startups. I also have a long career in the music business as a professional musician and a professional recording engineer. I've recorded albums for bands such as the Hives and the Walkmans. Those are a couple you may have heard of. We've got Vince Rogers on the team. He's got over 10 years experience in sales and talent acquisition for startups. Justin Olita was a VP of a high technology testing firm. We've brought Rachel Hurley onto the team to be our chief evangelist. She started one of the first widespread music blogs in the country. She worked at Ardent Recording Studios for over 5 years, and she's now one of the biggest music promoters in the city of Memphis. We've got Cameron Mann that's come on as a mentor. He's a director of the Memphis Music Foundation, and he's helping us secure those strategic partnerships we need to get this out there. And you met Jim Lattimore just a few minutes ago. He's an amazing CFO, and he's worked for a lot of startups. He's also on the board of directors of the Memphis Music Foundation. Loaded for Bear is a PR and branding company here in town that is doing all of our creative work, and they've been great to work with so far. And so far, since the Seed Hatchery program started and we got that initial $15,000 seed rounds, we've developed the technology. We've got the creative capital investment from Loaded for Bear, which is worth over $1 million, valued at over $1 million. We filed the full utility patent for our technology, and we've secured strategic partnerships with both the Memphis Music Foundation and the Folk Alliance International. Today we're asking for $500,000. In the next 12 months, we have a very discrete plan to reach 10 of these tools for music recording and bring them on as partners so we can go straight to their user bases. We're also looking at we're starting the process of going to 10 educational institutions and partnering with them, like the Visible School here in Memphis. We're also developing new technology to help musicians find musicians to collaborate with if they don't have a full team in place. And in our first 12 months, we're predicting $1 million in annual revenue. I was talking, when this all started, I was talking with a college mentor of mine. He's a multi-Grammy Award-winning producer and engineer. And he was lamenting to me how the music recording technology business can be up to decades behind of the rest of the technology world. And he said, and eventually when they start to catch up, they're generally do it in the wrong way, and then they have to go back and retry it. And he said, Musistic is finally bringing recording technology into the modern internet age, and is doing it in the right way. There's a lot of great music that's going to be made because of this platform, and there's a lot of money that's going to be made for your team. So again, I'm Brian Wenzloff with Musistic. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the intermission.